Good evening, and welcome to the second annual virtual Townsend pre-town meeting. I'm glad you could attend the meeting during these continued unusual times. I would like to offer a special welcome to those who are new to Townsend and those who have never attended a Townsend meeting before. My name is David Lebo. It is my privilege to serve as your town moderator and will be the moderator for this meeting. Next to me on my right or left, depending on your Zoom view, is Shepherd Lake, the Townsend Select Board Chair. I'd like to remind you this meeting is being streamed live to Comcast channel 1085 and on YouTube. Before we begin, I would like to review instructions on how to participate in the meeting and the meeting guidelines. Please turn off your video and mute your microphone. If you are joining by phone, please use *6 to mute and unmute. Please make sure your name is displayed correctly on the screen so you can be called on correctly. Use the rename function or hover over the blue squares on your video to make the changes. If you wish to speak, use the raise hand feature under reactions or participants. If you are joining by phone, please use the *9 feature to raise and lower your hand. The chat will not be monitored for questions or comments. Please use the raise hand feature to participate. I will call your name or the last 4 digits of your phone number in order to speak. BCTV will then ask you to turn on your video and unmute your microphone. Before you ask your question, please identify yourself and the street you live on, not your house number. After you're done speaking, please stop your video and mute your microphone. As each agenda item is completed, I will ask the director to lower all the hands. That then starts the line for the next agenda item. I would like to remind you that this is not town meeting, unfortunately. We are not voting on any articles. This is an informational meeting to answer questions related to the warned articles. I will call on participants as hands are raised. Use the raise hand feature or *9 on the phone. You will appear on the screen next to us, and we'll try to get the appropriate person to respond to your question to appear next to you. Please, again, please state your name and the road you live on, and if you hold a town position. To keep things moving, I will allow those to speak once per article and then not more than twice. When we get to elections, I will allow candidates a brief introduction and background if they would like. Campaign speeches will be deemed out of order. We will be referring to the town report frequently, so keep it handy. Remember, we are not voting on any articles tonight. There can be no motions or amendments. You cannot change the articles. This is purely an informational meeting. Please ask clarifying questions on the warned articles. The election on these articles, as written, is on town meeting day, Tuesday, March 1st at Town Hall from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Other questions or concerns can be directed to Town Hall or the Select Board. I would like to thank BCTV for all the hard work they've put into this production, and a big thank you to all those town members who have put the time and effort into making town meeting happen. Saying all that, I now call the February 23rd, 2022 Townsend pre-town meeting to order. Warning for the Town of Townshend 2022 annual meeting. The legal voters of the Town of Townshend are hereby notified and warned to vote at the Town Hall in Townsend, Vermont on Tuesday, March 1st, 2022 from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. to act on the following articles. Article 1. To choose a moderator for the ensuing year. Anybody like to speak to the moderator position? Raise hand feature or *9. Seeing none, we will clear the hands and move on to Article 2. Article 2, to act upon the July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021 Independent Auditor's Report. That can be found on page 5 in your town report. Any questions on the Independent Auditor's Report? Seeing no hands, we will clear the hands and move on to Article 3. Article 3, to see what salaries the town will vote to pay its various officials for the ensuing year. Town clerk, $39,393. Town treasurer, $31,668. Select board, 1 chair, $1,200, and 4 members at $4,000. Town clerk assistants and casual labor at $1,559. Any questions about that? Raise hand feature, *9. The results from last year's election are on page 37 to 38 of your town report. Any hands, *9? Seeing none, we will clear the hands and move on to Article 4. Article 4. This is the election article. This is a reminder that I will allow a brief introduction if you'd like and background, but campaign speeches will be deemed out of order. Current elected officials can be found on page 4 of your town report. And you can ask any general questions about the elections as well. The first position is town clerk. There is a one-year term position that is currently held by Elkina Wilson. Would anybody like to speak to town clerk position? Seeing no hands, *9 feature. We'll clear the hand there and move on to town treasurer. That is there's one position on a 1-year term currently held by Elaine Hill. I will entertain, yes, Rob Swiger would like to speak to the town treasurer position.
Hello, my name is Rob Swiger. I live up on Windham Hill Road in West Townsend, and I have experience. Yeah, that's me.
You can tell a little bit about your experience if you'd like. Sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just want to be fair.
Yeah. No, I understand.
Some of my experience includes working for small businesses, including managing them, as well as working within city and county governments, helping manage law enforcement agencies. I don't have any direct treasurer experience, but I do have a lot of experience managing records and making sure that people get paid on time and those kind of things.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
And nice to meet you.
You as well. I'm here with Allie and Haley as well.
Any other speaking to the town treasurer position? Seeing no hands, we'll clear the hand and move on to the select board. There's one 3-year term that's held by Sherwood Lake, sitting to my left or right, depending. Yes, Sherwood?
Too many buttons to push. Yes, my name's Sherwood Lake. I've been on the select board for two years at this point, and the chair for the last 2 years. And I think we've accomplished a lot, and I'd like to continue that progress. And I'd appreciate your support to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherwood. Anybody else like to speak to the 3-year term on the select board? Seeing no hands, we'll clear the hands and move on to 2 1-year terms on the select board. There are 2 1-year terms available. They are held by Haley Felker and Allison DeCrowley. Would anybody like to speak? Yes, Catherine.
Oops. There we go. Am I unmuted?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, I'm Catherine Morrow. I live on Windham Hill Road, and I'm interested in the one-year term on the select board. I have 4 kids. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I do some odd jobs for some local businesses, and I'm just really interested to get involved.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Anybody else would like to speak to one of the one-year terms on the select board? Seeing no hands for the select board, we'll move on to lister position. There's one 3-year term available. Helen Holt holds that position. Would anybody like to speak to the lister position? Yes, Town Hall Room 1 would like to speak.
I am Helen Holt. I am currently a lister, have been for last 3 years, I guess, and I'm running again.
Thank you for your service. Excellent. Anybody else like to speak to the lister position? Seeing no other hands. Delinquent tax collector is next. 1-year term, 1 position, held by Becky Riley. Would anybody like to speak to the delinquent tax collector position? Seeing no hands. We'll clear them and move on to the West River Modified Education District Director. There's one 3-year term available. That's held by Joe Winrick. Would anybody like to speak to that position? Seeing no hands, we'll clear them and do the constables. First constable, 1-year term, Warren Beatty. Anybody like to speak to the first constable? Seeing no hands. Second constable is held by Mike Cutts. It's a 1-year term. Seeing no hands. Library trustees. There's one 5-year term available. It is right now held by Kathy DeGrenier. Would anybody like to speak to a library trustee position for a 5-year term? Seeing no hands. Star 9. Cemetery Commission, another 5-year term, 1 5-year term, currently held by Charlie Marchant. Would anybody like to speak to the Cemetery Commissioner position? Seeing no hands. Those are the elections for positions that you'll, oh, yes, Ellen Kopp.
Sorry. I just wanted to introduce myself. I didn't quite realize it was the time before. I'm Alenka Wilson. I live on Pasture Place off of Simpson Brook Road. I am the current town clerk. I have been enjoying serving the community and would like to continue doing that as well. I think Elaine was trying to raise her hand for the treasurer.
I got it now.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Wait. Thank you. Nice to see you.
See you.
Elaine Hill has her hand up. Yes. We see it now. Go right ahead.
Hello. Hi. Good evening. I'm sorry. My name is Elaine Hill, Sleeper Lane in Townsend. I've been the Town of Townsend's treasurer and tax collector for the past 2 years. I've been a Townsend resident since 1993 and a homeowner since 2005. I enjoy working with the town clerk, administrative assistant and select board, listers, fire department, library trustees, and cemetery commission. And again, I'm asking for your vote as town treasurer. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Elaine. Sorry we didn't see that hand before.
That's okay.
Okay, would anybody like to speak to the elections before we move on? Okay, seeing no other hands. We'll move on to Article 5. To see if the town will authorize the select board to set a tax rate sufficient to cover all monies raised for municipal entities for the period of July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023, and to borrow money in anticipation of taxes. Would anybody like to talk about that? Star 9. Raise hand. Don't see any. We will move on to Article 6. To see if the town will authorize its property collector to receive its real property taxes quarterly, August 26, 2022, November 18, 2022, February 24th, 2023, May 19th, 2023. Monthly interest will be charged at the rate of 0.5% or fraction thereof. Interest of 1% or fraction thereof, plus penalties, will commence on May 30th, 2023. Would anybody like to speak to Article 6? Questions? Seeing no hands raised, we will move on to Article 7. Clear the hands, move on to Article 7. To see if the town will vote to appropriate $592,963 to pay for the running expenses and liabilities of the town, of which $338,563 is to be raised in taxes. That's on pages 7 through 12. Are there any questions about Article 7? Raise hand feature or star 9? Seeing no hands, no star 9. We will move on to Article, clear the hands, move on to Article 7. To see if the town will vote to appropriate $711,925 to pay for the running expenses and liabilities of maintaining the town roads, of which $598,925 is to be raised in taxes. That is on pages 13 through 16. Article 8. That is Article 8. Are there any on pages 13 through 16? Are there any questions? Raise hand feature or star 9? Seeing no hands, Article 8. We will clear the hands and move on to Article, after 8 is 9. 9. To see if the town will vote to raise $57,719 by taxation for the running expenses and liabilities of the library. That is on page 17 of your town report. Would anybody like to question Article 9? Seeing no hands raised or star 9 feature. I do not. We will move on to Article 10. To see if the town will raise $2,100 by taxation for the Old Cemetery Fund. The Old Cemetery Fund can be found on page 18 of your town report. Anybody like to ask a question about the Old Cemetery Fund? Seeing no hands or star 9 feature. Move on to Article 11. To see if the town will vote to raise $10,000 by taxation to be placed in the Capital Expenditure Fund, Fire Department Reserve, toward a future pumper. I will entertain questions on Article 11. Star 9 feature, raise hands. Seeing no hands raised, we'll clear the hands and move on to Article 12 to see if the town will vote to raise $20,000 by taxation for law enforcement services. Are there any questions about Article 12? Raise hand or star 9. Yes, Heidi.
Just to ask again, are we deciding ahead of time whether this is going to be the county sheriff or the state police? Or is that something that's totally left up to the select board?
Sherwood, would you like to answer that?
It's basically left up to the select board to make that decision. For the most part, we do take in input from the residents. The problem that we are running into is that law enforcement services are really tight. And like this last year, they couldn't entertain our contract. So, I'm not 100% sure that they will be in the next year, in this next fiscal year. But if we don't have any money set aside, we won't be able to do anything. Does that get to your question?
Sure, that's great. I'm sure you guys will make the right decision. I was just curious. Thank you.
Well, one of the things that we can do is certainly bring that up on the select board meeting. We can announce that we're going to have a discussion about law enforcement, and anybody that wants to put in input will certainly be allowed to.
Yeah, we just would like to know, who it is that we're going to call if we have a need. Thanks.
Well, you can always use 911.
Sure. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Heidi. Okay, any other questions? Article 12. Seeing no other hand raised, star 9. We will clear the hands. Move on to Article 13. To see if the town will vote to raise $50,000 by taxation to be held in a reserve account for the repair of the Stone Arch Bridge on Back Windham Road, contingent upon successful award of grants. Any questions on Article 13? Heidi.
So how much more money do we need before repairs can begin?
That would be a question for Charlie Marchant. Is he available? He would be in town hall.
He has unmuted, but he's not speaking.
Charlie is on. Maybe Charlie, you can identify yourself. He is not here at town hall, but he's on the meeting.
Oh.
It's there we go.
There you go. Hi, Charlie.
No little hand showed up. We have a revised budget that's been shared with the select board. And this money, the $50,000 would be put into the reserve fund. And that is not going to be sufficient to meet the needs of the revised budget, but until the select board and the person that made the budget and the Historical Society can get together on getting an explanation of that revised budget, we don't know exactly how much more needs to be raised. going to be sufficient to meet the needs of the.
Okay. Any other questions on Article 13? Okay, we'll clear the hands and move on to Article 14. To see if the town will vote to raise $10,000 by taxation to purchase radar speed control signs to be placed on Route 30 or other locations as recommended by the Planning Commission. Any questions on Article 14? Raise hand, *9. Heidi, yes.
Sorry, yeah, this seems like a lot of money to be spent. And is this being recommended by the Planning Commission, or what do we think that this is going to do for us? It's going to basically slow down traffic right in the center of town?
We can have the Planning Commission speak to that. They are in Town Hall, Room 1.
Yeah, hi. We undertook this warrant for this reason. Last year, there was no law enforcement contract, and we actually thought that there was money available. But nevertheless, we looked at this and said, speeding happens in town. Residents are always complaining about it. When the weather is nice, there are always people walking and bicycling on our roads. Sometimes speeders are simply in a fog when they're coming through town, and the flashing mile-per-hour sign lets them know you need to slow down, you're coming into a town. Other towns around us are using the speed cameras at this point. And as has been said earlier, in the past, we budgeted for law enforcement, and that principally was for speed control. So that's the reason for this warrant from the Planning Commission. Do you have anything else to say?
No, that kind of covers it. I think it's time we make an effort to slow down some of the traffic in these villages. It seems to be working in Newfane and Jamaica. When I asked, it seems like people are paying a little bit more attention to how fast they go. And this is everybody. This is not just people that are passing through. It's all of us that are probably going faster than we need to through our towns. So I look at it as not that much of an investment to perhaps slow down and make people more aware of our villages.
So basically it's an investment over a period of years. It's not just a one-time, I mean, we'll have it for a while, as long as it lasts.
Well, we don't know how long these devices last, but from what I can tell, we've probably got 5 to 7 years before we'd have trouble with the devices themselves. And they do seem to work around the clock. So once again, I think it's a worthwhile investment for our village. And Jamaica and Newfane think it's really helped both of those villages. So I'm hoping we can get on board.
Thanks for your explanation.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question and explanation. Indeed. Oh, Eileen. Does Eileen have a question on Article 14? Can we unmute Eileen Fahey?
I guess I unmute myself.
There you go.
I'm Eileen Fahey, and I live on Route 35 in the village. And I want to applaud the Planning Commission for this idea. I hope there's some thought given to speed limit or speed going up Route 35. It's absolutely unbelievable the number of vehicles that go by my house at 50 miles an hour. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Eileen. Laura clapped and then put her hand up. Laura, go right ahead.
I'm muted. There we go. Okay. So anyway, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I think I was just wondering what happened to the $20,000 that didn't get spent last year, because it seems like that would be a really good way to utilize the money, because we really do have a major problem with speeding in this town. And anything that we can do to help it, I think would be a plus. So anyway, I just wanted to, where did that money go? Did it go into a special savings that we could utilize?
Laura, this is Sherwood Lake. No, that money was turned back into the general fund to offset taxes. We would have to have repurposed it, and there would have been no chance to discuss it. So it was felt when the budget was created that we put it back into the to the general fund and reallocate this money or allocate in a new line item for this project. That was the only way we could do it and get people or have people's input on it.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Laura. Rob, if you could unmute yourself and turn on your video, please. Thank you.
Hey there, thank you. I just wanted to further emphasize this issue and comment that there are always children walking down there. I always abide the speed limit, obviously, but the necessity for these signs should be emphasized. That's all I have to say about it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Laura, got a question. We need to know your last name. Could we get that? You can rename yourself. You don't need to say it, but if you could rename yourself.
If I could rename myself, I'd probably try to find a name that would get me lots of money. My last name is Richardson.
Right. And what road do you live on?
Excuse me?
Road. I forgot to be asking.
Grafton Road.
Thank you. Thank you. Grafton Road. Yes. Speeding road.
Oh, you got that right. It's horrendous.
Yes.
It really
Thank you. Rob, hand up. Hand down. Hand down. Awesome. Thank you. Okay. I'm getting the hang of this. Where were we? Anything else on Article 14? Any other hands? Article 14? Seeing none, we will clear the hands and move on to Article 15. To see if the town will vote to raise $16,655 by taxation for the support of social services as recommended by the Social Services Committee. That's on page 20 to 21 of your town report. Any questions on the social services? Article 15. Raise hand, *9. Hand up, Heidi. Yes.
Sorry,
video?
sorry
Video?
to be so Gabby. I'm on.
Wait, can you turn on your video?
No.
Okay.
I'm on Windham Hill Road in West Townsend. I'm curious about why we're supporting a newspaper, the Vermont Independent Media, the Commons. Is this a usual thing for a town to support a local newspaper?
Would somebody from social services, Kathy? Where is she? I thought I saw her earlier. Kathy, do you want to respond? Doesn't look like she's available. Anybody else from social services here? No. I know of the Commons. I mean, does somebody want to talk about their experience of the Commons? Okay. It's a community newspaper that tells about the kids and what they've done and things like that, more than a Kathy. There you are.
Okay. I think this is the okay, start my video. Okay. I think this is the first year we've had a request from them. They are a community newspaper. They are a nonprofit organization. And I think a lot of people around town read it. And so we figured we'd put it in for, I don't think it's a lot of money, but so.
It's a free newspaper as well, is it not?
It is free. They accept contributions, but you can buy subscriptions, but you can pick it up free at the Riverbend Market and various places around. And you can have it delivered to you by mail.
I subscribe for it and pay for it, so I don't know that I want the town to also have to pay for it in addition. But you know, I just curious about what other people might think on that subject.
Okay.
Alenka.
Sorry it takes so long. I also just wanted to say that they publish obituaries for free, which for a community is a huge thing. Oftentimes they're over $500 to print in the Reformer. And I do think that that's kind of a wonderful, wonderful service that they provide.
Thank you. Laura?
I'm getting there. Okay, so I used to work at Riverbend Market and for a short time, and I noticed that there are a lot of people that really love that publication, and it really does help people stay informed about a lot of local events that they might not otherwise know about. So I think they do perform a great community service, and not everybody can afford to subscribe. So supporting them, I think, is probably a really good community service to offer.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to speak to the Article 15?
I can't.
Support of social services? Seeing no other hands?
I can't get my hand up.
Oh, Christine, you want to speak? You can speak. I can hear you, so you can just go. Wait, can you turn your camera on? We like to see people.
There we go.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
I'm also on the committee. Many of the people working on this paper are volunteers. Just wanted to throw that one in too.
They cover all of them. Thank you. Okay, anything else on Article 15? Seeing no other hands, we will clear the hands and move on to Article 16. To see if the town will vote to raise $3,696 by taxation for the support of Brattleboro Development Credit Corp, as recommended by the Social Services Committee. Brattleboro Development Corporation promotes regional economic development, improving wages, and fosters job creation. That is on page 21 of your town report. Would anybody like to ask a question about Article 16? Raise hand feature, *9. Yes, Rob.
We're supposed to hear.
Hi.
Hi.
This is Natalie. I just wanted to say that this particular article pertains to helping a lot of kids in Leland and Gray and regional areas to get jobs. And I think it's really a great thing that we're supporting this as a community.
So you're with Rob. What's your name again?
I'm Allie. I'm on the select board.
Oh, right.
Wonderful in Windham Hill Road. Actually,
Thank you. I got it now. Okay. Any other questions on Article 16? Seeing no hands, we'll clear the hands and move on to Article 17. To see if the town will vote to raise $600 by taxation for the support of Vermont Bar Foundation as recommended by the Social Services Committee. The Vermont Bar Foundation funds legal services for low-income Vermonters. These services include representation at eviction and domestic violence hearings. That's on page 21 as well of your town report. Any questions on Article 17? *9, raise hand feature. Seeing none, we'll clear the hands and move on to Article 18. To see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to acquire land by gift or purchase for municipal forest to promote reforestation, water conservation, and good forestry practices. Any questions on Article 18? *9, raise hand feature. Seeing none, we'll clear the hands and move on to Article 19. To see if the town will vote to set the first Tuesday in March 2023 as the date for the 164th Town of Townshend annual meeting. My only statement is we're going to do it in person. That is March 7th, 2023 for anybody that needs to know. Any questions on Article 19? Yes, Laura. Unmute and video, please, or unmute. Yep, oh, almost at it.
I got it now. There we go. I had a really hard time getting on Zoom because I'm a computer illiterate. And I finally managed to get on, but of course, everything was halfway through by the time I figured it out. And I really had a question about something before I came on. Is that possible to talk about now, or am I just too bloody late?
I don't think there's anything that's too bloody late.
I've been watching a lot of British TV.
So that's okay. What would you like to ask? I think that's absolutely fine.
Okay. I'm just kind of, I'm not trying to stir up a lot of trouble, but I'm trying to figure out why the highway department costs more to run than the town. And it seems like it's been going, the cost of running the highway department has increased in like $100,000 increments over the past 3 years. $100,000, you know, maybe to some folks that's not much, but it seems like a great deal to me. And I'm just wondering, you know, especially with everybody struggling with inflation and all of that, if there's any way that we could try to figure out a way to maybe cut some fat or something. Because I just don't understand why it would cost more than almost, you know, $200,000, well, over $100,000 more to run the highway department than the entire town. So I'm just asking. And I looked through the budget and, you know, I mean, it all sounds really convincing. It all looks really legitimate and stuff like that, but I don't understand all of that stuff. You know, it's like, how would I possibly know, you know, all of that? I'm just trying to figure out if there's any way we could see if there's some things we could kind of like cut back on, or, you know, just maybe do without.
Well,
take the burden off the taxpayers.
Understood, and we'll see if we can get somebody to speak to the budget a little bit to answer the question. But remember, this is, we can't amend anything today. So on March 1st, you go and you vote, and it's an up or down vote at that time. So there's no cutting at this point. However, to the first part of your statement, the question about why it's expensive, maybe we can get some answers to that. Is Steve there at Town Hall or Sherwood? We'll pitch you guys against one another. Town Hall, room 1. There you are. There's the man himself. Unmute. There you go.
The reason why it costs more to run the highway department than it does the town is we have a lot of equipment that we have to maintain and service. We have materials that are required in the wintertime. We have special projects. We gravel crush, we replace culverts, we do ditching. In our special projects budget, we have grant match money that allows us to do larger projects using state money and Wyndham regional money. So it's maintaining the highway, maintaining the town's roads, and that's why it costs more than running the town itself.
Go ahead, identify yourself real quick. I know you.
Stephen Frisk, Acton Hill.
Highway Commissioner.
Road foreman.
Road foreman.
DPW supervisor.
Okay.
Select board member.
Connie Holt. I would also just like to point out that the increase in the budget is, I think, around $9,000 or $10,000 from last year's budget.
Will, your hand is raised. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that Laura kind of answered her own question in the fact that inflation is affecting everyone and everything. So the price of materials is steadily rising. The price of diesel is steadily rising. The price of gas is steadily rising. We also, in the past, their wages have had to increase to keep us competitive so that we can have people like Steve and the rest of the crew to take care of the roads and, you know, plow when it snows. That's it.
Thank you, Will. Sherwood.
Yeah, I'd just like to add to what Will was saying in that the town actively goes after every grant, or has been going after every grant it can to help offset some of this stuff. And there was the storm in July that cost us nearly $300,000 that we're trying to recover funds from. But all the work that the highway guys did up to that storm is what kept it from being millions of dollars. Doing culverts, doing the ditching, doing the projects that had to be done to get us up to highway standards. And a lot of this stuff is required. So yes, it looks like a lot of money. It is a lot of money, but it's not wasted money. And I can assure everybody here that this year we undertook a line item by line item review of everything that we expend money on. We cut quite a bit and we had to raise a couple of things. So I understand where you're coming from. It's honestly, it's the price of doing business. Thank you.
Okay. We've run through the warning. I think, Eileen, yes. Unmute yourself in video, please.
Hi, everybody. I'm Eileen Fahey. I couldn't figure out how to raise my hand when we were talking about the expenses. And the audit cost $8,000 more this year than we budgeted for, and yet there's no increase on that line item for next year. I just was curious as to how it got to be $8,400 more than we budgeted and what caused that.
Sure would.
Simple answer, Eileen. It was never correctly put in the budget in the first place. It was sorted, the previous budgets were $10,000 a year for a 3-year contract. The actual cost, when we got right down to it, was $19,000 so a year. So where we were able to save in one part of the budget, that took care of it to bring us back to level field. It just simply, I don't know, I can't comment on why they did it the way they did it in the past, but it's corrected now. And that's why that jump is there.
Thank you, Sherwood.
Thank you, Sherwood.
Did I answer your question, Eileen?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Catherine.
Hey, buddy. Hi, this is Sean Morrow. I'm speaking on Catherine's account because we have one ability to get on the computer. I'm the postmaster of Townsend, and I would like to speak to the last item that was on the bill, was that the roads right now are going through a great expansion. Townsend is growing. I see this in the mail and I see this throughout what's coming through the community. So an increased budget for the roads crew makes sense because they're doing more work. And that's where I'd like to put my word in on that one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Yes, you too. Thank you for what you do.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? And is there any other information to come before the pre-town meeting? Would anybody else like to bring up any other non-binding stuff in a non-binding meeting? Yes, Heidi.
Sorry to be a big blabbermouth, but here I am. So we have 2 people who are running for the select board and we have 3 spots that are open. So what happens if we are not able to have an election because we don't know any names of people who might want to be on the select board? Does that mean the select board will have to appoint someone?
Yes, in part, yes. If people do a write-in for that second position, and Alanka is probably the better person to answer this for you, but I'll give you what we've done in the past. If there's nobody that comes up, there's no votes for a second person, then the select board will entertain applications and appoint somebody until the next town meeting.
So if only maybe 5 names come up or something and one person gets more than the other 4, are they elected?
Yep. That would be a question for Alanka.
Go ahead.
To my knowledge, if a write-in candidate gets, and I think Will also knows this, if it's a certain percentage, I think if 10 people are written in, they have the option of being on the select board, but it is something where they need to agree to that. So I'm aware of one person that is considering being written in, but it's one of those, it's kind of a hard thing. I've also heard a rumor that a former select board member that's still on the board currently possibly might be written in as well, but that it has to be 10 people, 10 votes for that person.
Thank you.
Any other information or questions to come before the Townsend? Laura?
I'm kind of lost on the select board thing. I was under the impression that we already had 4 people and we had an extra person that seemed interested. So who is not going to be on the select board or
If you look at the ballot, the pre-ballot, you'd be able, yeah,
I don't know
to
where
see
that
who's
is.
running. Rob?
Hi, I'm Allie. I just wanted to say that I would entertain the idea of being written in again for another term. The reason I wasn't planning on running another year is because I'm trying to expand my business. So, but see how it goes, I guess. I'm okay with it. If I get some votes and that seems to be what happens, then that's fine. But yeah, we'll see where it goes. And also, there's plenty of other wonderful young community, vibrant individuals in this area that want to also participate in town municipal government. So I hope that we keep the good vibes flowing and young blood moving. So yeah.
Could you state your full name so people know who to write in?
Allison Dercoli.
Thank you.
It's okay if you spell it wrong.
Okay. Thank you. Thank
right.
you.
Yeah.
Wait, you got to unmute. No, go ahead. There you go.
Sorry. As David said, there are sample ballots on our website. There's one in the post office in Townsend. The board is there are 5 positions for it. I think it was running with 4 for a little while, but so we have Rob and Steve. Guys, can you please be quiet? We have Rob and Steve that are already on. Sherwood is running. Catherine is running. And then there's that other position just to answer the question, but it is a 5-person board.
Thank you. Yes, Laura.
Is Haley running again?
Yeah. She's right there. Go ahead, Rob.
Hi, I'm Haley Felker of Lawrence Drive in West Townsend. I am not running again. So, yes, life is busy enough. But, I have 3 kids and run a farm and work, and I found time to do this job, to volunteer for the town, and I recommend lots of other people trying it because it's very interesting, and you learn a lot about how the town functions. So thank you.
I think that's kind of sad.
Okay.
I'm saddened by the fact that you 2 are not going to be on any longer, but it was good while it lasted.
Thank you. And thank you for your service. I don't think those, yep. Okay, I think we're good with hands. Anybody else? Bring up any information or ask any questions. Seeing no other hands. Seeing no further business to come before this meeting, and if there's no objection, I declare the meeting adjourned. Don't forget to vote at town meeting day, Tuesday, March 1st at Town Hall from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Again, I would like to thank BCTV for all the hard work, our sponsors, and all the Townsend town people that participated in the meeting. Have a great, safe evening. Let's hope for a normal town meeting next year. Thank you all very much for all you do.